Hello folks, and welcome to our first 1v1 cast in a while. It's between a couple of Platinum players. Promethean AceOfSpadeds down on the South Pole there in dark blue. Going bots first, mechs. Probably follow that up with a P-Gen, and then ideally an air second, but you never know. But the scouting is always useful. And on the top spawn here, RLM's AsZeal. Going similarly, in fact he went mechs first then bot factory, interesting. And bots second as well, even more interesting. Couple of P-Gens then to follow that up to allow those factories to be produced adequately. So just before we continue with this, I just want to say apologies for my snuffly nose. I've had a horrible cold for the whole of the past week, and for not really having much content going up because I've been making those trailers. But if you wouldn't mind commenting as to what you want to see on the channel, whether it be gameplay, whether it be casts, whatever it be, because I have the opportunity and means to do some extra stuff now for the channel. But there you are. Anyway, back into the game. So we got the air second. We've got some fireflies coming out there from AceOfSpadeds. Good scouting mechanics there, docks going all around the place as well. Meanwhile, on the north, we have the two bots. Lots of docks production capabilities there as a result of two bot factories, and the commander continuing to build those as well. So we can see players are pretty much even at this point, actually. It's surprising how even it is. But we'll have an interceptor coming up in front of the Firefly, which is interesting. Probably protects the Firefly from any defending interceptors as a result, and then as a result of that can keep the Firefly alive, certainly for a bit longer. But as we can see here, AsZeal sending docks in various different locations. These will be to lock down and scout the different expansion points, as we can see down this side here, going for that sort of movement place there to not only scout this, but also to potentially lay some pressure onto here. However, if these docks manage to get up this laser point tower, then that'll be slightly more tricky to raid with docks. Of course, though, there is such a wide area of entry that they can just swing around and no one would be the wiser. But this Firefly here from AsZeal is going to get that good scout on there. Let's see what he can see. He can see the mech, so he knows that he can raid that. His Firefly does not see the tower, though, and so those docks might just be in for a little bit of a surprise there as it does get finished. Now, back into the bases. Let's have a look at the build queues. We have a second air factory coming out from Ace. That's going to have a lot of interceptors, and even starting with the bombers as well. But obviously the two air factories apiece is going to mean that air dominance is going to be a tricky give and take situation, certainly for the time being. But again, lots of docks all over the map from both players. And again, here at the back we can see these two fabricators setting up a little bit of defence on both sides there. Hasn't got the mechs expansion yet from AsZeal, but it doesn't matter too much because, as we can see already, he's floating, so he's not utilising the mech's income to the best of his ability. Meanwhile, Promethean's AceOfSpadeds has got a lot more P-Gens, so he can really start ramping out the factories, and if we look at the build queue, we probably see two. Yep, there we are, right there with two extra ones. Looks like farmers were killed, though, at the back here by some nice raiding docks from AsZeal, which is good. That stops those getting the mechs, and will prevent AceOfSpadeds' sort of medium-term production plans, and as a result he'll need to get out some more fabricators to go and expand some more, which he has already done here. In his base he's just going to get a few more P-Gens, got a fabricator doing that as well. But, you know, it's a case of locking down your opponent on this map, because if we look on the other side, there's so much mechs, just so much mechs where you wouldn't really normally check. And here we can see these interceptors and bomber trying to find these fabricators, not doing so well at it. But because these Galata turrets there, AA turrets are there, that's going to mean that the bombers, while they may take out a couple of fabricators, will be on a suicide mission, because they are just so good against bombers. They are so good. Docks coming in there, not managing to take out the fabricators, unfortunately. As a result, that area will be locked down, which is good. So, sort of medium-term expansion possibilities for these players. What they ideally want to do is maybe try and keep raiding the sides and the backs of the bases, keep each player sort of boxed into their base and not expanding. As we can see down here, we've got a fabricator just about to get slaughtered, and down it goes. So again, preventing the expansion possibilities there. Bomber's going to come in and wreck that docks blob in just a second, without it being microed. Oh, blimey. That was Not exactly the most accurate bombing run ever, but there you are. We can see up here a lot of interceptors, so AsZeal definitely making a play for the air game, obviously not putting too much effort into the bombers. Ace of Spades doing the same thing, and in fact making the transition to the vehicles. That's a crucial one because obviously the vehicles can then start to continually push harder, especially given that they are only against docks at this point. The docks will have to give up a little bit of ground. Meanwhile, though, on the north side, AsZeal going for his third air factory. Have we got a third air factory on the south? We have not. So, if AsZeal manages to get this up and manages to keep up his production, he will have lots more interceptors than Ace and will, as a result, sacrifice the air game. I believe this replay was a ranked game, so obviously a lot at stake here with your pretty numbers on a leaderboard. Interesting move by Ace of Spades here. It's a nice one to send a few docks just around the back to stop any expanding fabricators trying to get to that plateau over there. We can see AsZeal just continuing to send these sort of docks raiding forces around the sides and the back. They do get scouted, but it's just it's almost at this point an intimidation tactic, because if the docks are everywhere and Ace is constantly having to respond to this, then Ace isn't really doing the pushing out on his own. So as we can see up top there, AsZeal has now captured all the mechs up here and is probably eyeing up these four at the back. Meanwhile, of course, Ace is doing the same thing with his docks blob. But there, the lovely area patrol from the docks are going to mean that they do take a little bit longer to die, but they don't, unfortunately, get any good pickups there, which is a shame. So both players pretty much even at this point. The tanks are beginning to move out, though. We've got some spinners in there, which will prevent any bomber defense, and the Inferno's in there as well, which will be able to soak a little bit of early damage, allowing the rest of the tanks to get in range. So these docks blobs here from Ace, I wonder, are they going to sit sentry around the back of the base, or are they going to go and do some raiding of their own? Back in the back of AsZeal's base, we have these docks here. What are they doing? Because they could just move up there and nab a Fabber kill. Looks like they're going around the side there. Has he spied that expansion? No, he hasn't. Where has he given those guys a movement queue to? Seems like it's there, which is an odd place. But there you are. But the air... Oh, the air game. We're about to have a clash of interceptors here. Bombers trying to do their best, but the interceptors are just too many at this point. Grouping them up, though, from AsZeal is not the most ideal of things to do. All the air was just traded there. Wow, that is some heavy airplay. 6 air factories and T2 bots. That is impressive, actually. That's different sort of strategies that I haven't really seen so much. Now, obviously, the implication of transitioning to tanks that I just want to point out is that they are a lot slower. And if your opponent is going docks, they'll be able to outrun you and run circles around you. So it's important that you manage to keep your expansions locked down as a result if you're just going to keep pushing with your tanks now, because, oh dear, because of course the tanks don't have that mobility that the docks do. Bomber coming in, that'll decimate that blob. A few more bombers, oh my goodness, that... Well, that wasn't very good. Of course, there is wreckage there now, and if AsZeal was a little bit savvy, he could pop out a combat fab and go and reclaim some of that for some free metal. Whether it would pay for itself just at that point, I don't know. Meanwhile, though, we do have some raiding over here with these docks on that mechs, and we have a few tanks pushing in as well. Now, you can see how these docks are just running rings around these tanks, and the ants are having to respond before moving into the base, and here come the bombers. Only 2 spinners remain, and they are targeted down, so those bombers have free reign. Is Ace going to send in some interceptors of his own? It doesn't look like he really has any on call at the moment. He does have a few dotted around, but it seems as though he's decided, you know what, I'm going to give up on that. Bomber's going to come in on this docks blob over here. They will be down and out for the count. Wonder... Really heavy transition to vehicles, though, from Ace now. So we're going to see a lot of maintained push. And because, well, with any luck, if he gets an expansion going, he'll be able to get the metal to support the continued docks production. Interestingly, he's gone for sparks now. Okay, so the Tesla bots, the sparks, They have a sort of area of effect. It's sort of weak, semi-okay, but it costs power to use. And currently Ace of Spades may not necessarily have the power to spare for that, especially considering he's going T2 vehicles. Wow, so T2 vehicles versus T2 bots, and the factories are around the same-ish of completion. We need more spinners in your army, sir. But as a result of having more spinners in your army, you don't have the ground punches to pack against the docks. And if the docks run in and wreck the spinners, then the bombers have free reign. And this air around the back, this is looking lethal. I'm just going to zoom out with the picture-in-picture there so we can see the general gist of the battlefield over here. You see what I mean about the docks running rings around the slower tanks? Especially with Infernos, they're just not going to get the pickups. Bombers going to come in on these tanks. Nothing is going to happen to those. I think Ace is playing a really good game here, keeping his air hidden so that AsZeal does not know about the air presence or the magnitude thereof, and will reveal it in due course. But these tanks, they're just rolling out in single file. It's not exactly what you want, and as a result, they will all be picked up exactly as you'd expect by docks that just run rings around them, and 3 Infernos there just have to retreat. You may as well just push them in, to be honest, because it's not going to get away. Yeah, down he goes. Meanwhile, on this side we have a whole bunch of docks and sparks. It looks like they were area patrol to try and survive some bomber harass. Trying to defend this side though. It looks like the bots are going to sort it out, unfortunately. Are they going to take the fabricators with them? Yes, they will. Lovely Tesla bots there. Lovely sparks. But these docks here will just wreck this expansion, excuse me, and that'll set Ace of Spades metal back just a little bit. And as we saw earlier, he needs to get that extra metal because, well, he needs to support his T2 production. And to be honest, he really needs to scout this air because there's so many air factories there. Oh, he has scouted it, okay. That's alright. And the transition to vehicles has been made by AsZeal now as well. But these bombers, though, they are just so omnipotent for the attacking forces of Ace. I think he really needs to bulk his forces up into a meaningful blob at this point with meaningful anti-air and at least give them support, because currently they're just going into their death because the bombers are just everywhere and he just can't get close because AsZeal is just so on point with the defense. Good thing around the back though with Ace of Spades, getting the expansions here, and it'll get up a couple of Galata turrets exactly as you want because, well, they're just so good against bombers. Probably then wants to pop up a few point defense. And even with the vehicles there now, interestingly, vehicle fabbers, if they just have one bomber, it won't kill them. You need a couple of passes with a single bomber to kill a vehicle fabber. They have got that little bit extra durability, which may be useful, but against this sort of air and bomber composition, it's not really going to make any difference. Especially if the successful scout gets off, which, oh, it's going to be so very close. Does AsZeal see it? No, he doesn't. He'll probably fly over it when he continues his pass, though, to be honest. Again, apologies for the snuffles. It's incredibly frustrating, especially for me. My immune system is terrible. He moves away! He does not see that. That is quite crucial, actually. Does he get the AA turret? He's not bothered with the AA turret. He just wants the metal. But those bombers will just wreck. And they continue to wreck. Now pushing in again. But of course, you see, only 3 tanks in there and 4 spinners. That's not exactly a worthwhile composition. He needs more vehicle factories. He's got the T2 vehicle, so he's going to have the T2 economy, which means that he doesn't need to worry so much about keeping his expansions because he'll have the advanced metal and power in his base. But he does really does need to get the production going, because if we look at the factory count now, 18 to 16 mobile units. Ace of Spades still being favoured though, which is interesting. That's very interesting, actually. It's not too far apart, but it's the air game that's just so crucial at this point. And where is all Ace of Spades air? It's sat on the commander like that, and oh dear. You don't really want to sit it all on top of itself like that, because if I'm correct, air does have a little bit of area of effect in its weapon, and as a result, it will do damage to a lot more than just one aircraft at a time, which isn't great. So, well, I don't really know what to suggest at this point, because this tank blob here is going to do an absolute nightmare to Ace's base here. He'll probably lose a good couple of factories here, if not 3 or 4. Possibly even the air factories at this point. The bot's just trying to defend so many wreckages for metal there. But this air from AsZeal is just so good. It's put in so much work and it's really paid for itself. But here come the interceptors. They have revealed themselves from Ace of Spades. AsZeal running away thinking, oh, no, I want to keep my my air forces alive. And I think AsZeal still outnumbers in terms of the air game. There's only one bomber in there. Wow, AsZeal made a big mistake by not pushing in with those tanks. He could have done so much more damage to power, to factories, to production. I mean, if we look at the army tab now, Ace of Spades gone down another factory. And the mobile unit count has just disappeared. And there goes the air as well. Oh my goodness. He needs more air factories. He has to. And he's putting them up as well. So he's replenishing the air production that he lost over there. Well, AsZeal is really making interesting choices with his direction of his vehicles here. He should just push straight in. There is shellers, there are shellers now on the field, so those will be able to do stuff. In fact, actually, T2 vehicles have the... I was going to say the storm for the AA, but that's the least of his problems. If those locusts get in, I completely forgot about the T2 bots being completed. If just a few locusts get in at an undefended point of the base, they're going to prioritise that T2 vehicle factory. You just watch. They will chew that thing down. There's nothing to defend against it. Oh no! It's gone! Perfect use of just 6 locusts there. One was lost. Unfortunately, they won't really stand a chance against that expansion there. But they do manage to take down a little bit. But ow! The T2 vehicle factory is gone. Oh my word. Very good use of locusts there, especially in a 1v1 situation. And the bombers again! Oh, the spinners though! The spinners! Oh! That was a mistake by AsZeal. Well played there by Ace of Spades. If he can get up a proxy base here with a few factories and point defense and all sorts, that'll actually be quite a good position to obtain. But AsZeal does have slammers now, and that's going to be quite important. Commander's sitting idle at the moment, just having a look at the build queues there. We've got the T2 build queues going up. But the air is just so omnipotent at this point with AsZeal. And there's the vehicle factory kind of getting the reclaim before actually building the vehicle factory. Oh, if you'll excuse me, I just had to blow my nose there for a second. It was just unbearable. Anyway, right, so the rest of the cast. Ugh. What do we got? Wow, that's quite a defense over there from AsZeal. 4 point defense, dual laser. Aha! The proxy base is beginning, but he needs the point defense, because otherwise those bots are just going to walk in and wreck. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're about to do now. What is that noise? Oh, that's the sparks over here. Let's keep a monitor of this area over there. Oh dear. Well, there goes that proxy base. I don't know why he prioritised the Galata turrets over the point defence, considering he had all those spinners there. That was probably a little bit of a poor decision. So, looking around, Ace needs the air production, and hopefully he's working on it. He needs storms as well. Really badly needs storms. Because if he gets storms, then he just wrecks the air, and then he can transition his vehicles back into tanks rather than spinners. And I think that's his issue at the moment, is his vehicles are predominantly spinners, and so he's not really packing the punches he needs. Let's have a look back in the economy tab there. Both players are okay. Ace of Spades still in the lead when it comes to economy. That's probably because the T2 economy hasn't really started flying yet in AsZeal's base. It's getting there, but it's still got a way to go. But this force here, tanks and air, that's looking nasty. And because you see the difference here, so few spinners, That's simply because he knows he doesn't need them, because he has air dominance at this point. That's why Ace so desperately needs to win back the air game. Now, looking at what AsZeal's options at this point, he can push in down the middle. From our all-seeing perspective, we can see that he'll just absolutely destroy if he does that. Meanwhile, at the same time, he does need to defend his base. He's got a bunch of slammers that'll be able to help him, certainly against those infernos. And the bombers as well, but he needs to wreck the spinners first. He can use the docks as cannon fodder while he gets the slammers and tanks into position. He wants to kite. He doesn't want the infernos to get too close to the docks. Oh, here they come, and there's the air support as well. Oh dear. This is looking quite good for Ace of Spades at this point, actually. Oh, wow. But here come the tanks to defend, though, and they are all ground tanks. No AA in there whatsoever. Ace needs to kite with those shellers. He needs to kite. He needs to kite, otherwise they're not going to put in the work. They don't put in the work, and he just gets gobbled. Oh, so that did buy him time, but he lost that army completely. Oh, wow, he's got another army ready to go down the middle already, which is great. Great news for him. Where's AsZeal's docks that were around the back? He's still sat them there. He could go and raid and do a fair bit of damage with those. Around the base, you just got flak, so in case any scouting happens, air forces will be decimated. I'm genuinely surprised we don't see the storms being used here, because then he could just transition from spinners to ants again, and he'd have no issue. Like packing those extra punches. Oh dear. Those bot fabs are gone. But good expansion though around the back. We can just see all of this metal. It is going to go down now though. But that was some good expansion around the back. It kept his metal up and running for certainly more than enough time that was necessary to give him these big vehicle blobs. If we go back to the army tab now, we can see AsZeal just has the unit count. Predominantly air, of course, still. But I think Ace is about to try and contest that. Ace isn't bothering with bombers. He's just bothering with interceptors. He wants air dominance back. Meanwhile, in the middle here, we can see... Oh my goodness, we're about to have that push. The levelers need to be kept off the front line so that they are alive and can kite. Oh, that's not good. Probably about to have an interceptor fight here, which isn't looking good either for Ace, I think. I think AsZeal still outnumbers in the air game. It's getting closer, though. It is getting closer. Look at all these air factories from Ace down here. We've got 5 of them, 6 now. AsZeal's still trying to make that push in the middle. Ace trying to break out of this blockade. Not quite happening, but the interceptors were fighting on this side. The bombers just left there. Oh, the air game was just flipped on its head. Tables have been flipped. Oh my goodness. Well, Ace just won the air game back, and now he can transition from spinners to just ants, 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 and ants. Or infernos as well, of course, because he just won the air game back. Meanwhile, though, in the back of the base, those docks wrecking their expansion. The T2 Eco is still in the base though, and as a result his production is still viable. These tanks though on the front lines getting kited a little bit by these levelers. It's just going to not really be helpful for his day. AsZeal but just has so much production as well. Only 1 less factory though. You what? He's working on an Atlas, or at least he was. It seems to be going down now, unfortunately. Maybe he decided to give up on it before we... until he had the eco to support it. Meanwhile, on the front lines, the forces have decided, okay, it's time enough, I've stopped retreating, I'm going to push back out, you're in my base, you're targeting the factory down, let's move the units in while they're aggroed on the factory, so that the units do kind of survive at this point, because, again, factory aggro is real. Interesting micro there. So, the rest of the units, where are they? They're sort of everywhere. Oh my goodness. What was that about the air game being flipped on its head? Well, AsZeal's just won it back, I think. Well, not won it back, but he's certainly back in a position where he can contest it. And oh, the vehicle factories, once they start producing, Oh, that's going to be bad for Ace. That is going to be so very bad for Ace. 3 more factories now. Ace does have 4 T2 vehicle factories, interesting. So he's going to keep pumping out those levelers and shellers. Ideally, possibly even mix 1 storm in there every so often, but he's struggling a bit on the metal. He needs to replenish the mechs that's in his base and get all of the T2 up. He really needs to do that and also replenish the back mechs, because of course all of his expansions have just been absolutely decimated. And oh, that army was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Those bombers are going to end that, or not. Those interceptors want to move. They really want to move, yeah. They took like a large number of losses there, and oh, that is a fleet if ever there was one. A squadron, fleet, same difference. Wow. This expansion here, the Galata turret is still there, but you see, AsZeal being so sneaky there, going out the side. Of course, Ace is able to see that. He doesn't have the bombers to deal with it, but he has now seen that that is a thing. He still can't get through the middle though, because it's just heavily walled in, and AsZeal is just moving all of his units to that central place there. So there's not really a whole lot he can do. The shellers need to get a little bit closer to really start putting in their work. Slammers are being baited out with guard range. Oh, this could be good for these shellers, actually. This could be really good. Let's monitor the back, because there's also a vehicle force here that could really do a lot of damage. And the shellers are doing their work now, as they really start to pound away at this vehicle force. If they could just keep kiting, those shellers will just decimate. And taking down the factories as well. It's great. Oh, just gone in all sorts of places. But the air game is just still contested, and the Titan is coming up, and if Ace does not get the air game by the time that Titan is up, he's going to really struggle to defend against it. As long as he kites with shellers, he should be okay, but the Atlas is just so good against ground units, and if you don't have the ability to just bomb it like crazy, then it's going to make a fair bit of a push. In come the interceptors now. The scouting is real. He's going to see the Titan. He sees the Titan. That's important. He also manages to take down a whole bunch of the interceptors there. Even more coming into the support from the back. Takes down all of the interceptors. Is he going to chase the bombers down? No, he's not. He's just going to sit around there, have a good bit of a peek at the base, sees everything he needs to see, sees all the production, sees where everything is. That's great. He sees the Titan as well. He did manage to take down the bombers, but he now knows that the interceptors are gone. He can now push in a few places and do a bit of raiding. We've got some docks here that could go into that expansion there. We've got the vehicles down the middle with the shellers still putting in their work, but AceOfSpadeds just continuing to try and just break through in the middle. He's really struggling with it. Around the side now as well, AsZeal still just got this defense, and it's just been untouched, because I think Ace realises there's no real need to go and send units into that, because you can just send them through the middle, all around the sides and the back. Let's have a look at radar coverage there. Radar coverage from AsZeal reveals that there's those units there. He wants to keep those docks there to defend that base. And in they come now. Perfect timing. Where's the T2 radar that's spied on that one? It's around the front somewhere, but that Atlas Titan is almost finished. Let's keep an eye on that in the picture-in-picture. In come these Infernos. Sorry, I'm going to have to... I don't know. Down goes the mechs. The docks are a little bit too late. Will they manage to save one of the mechs? No, they won't. They should be able to take down this force. Should... he says tentatively. The Atlas was finished. That's going to start moving out on this middle force there, but it's on the wrong side of the base, and we know how slow the Atlas is. Oh my goodness, Ace needs to see that and deal with it. Otherwise that's not good. We'll keep tracking that Atlas in picture-in-picture. Just to follow its movements, because that's not legit right there. Ace wants to keep away from that Atlas. Does he see it yet? I think he's about to. I think he's about to see it. He's moving his units back in retreat towards it. Oh! Wrecked. Oh dear. Not good. He thinks to himself. He has to get bombers out. Is he transitioning to heavy bombers? Doesn't look like it just yet. Oh, actually, yes, he is. He's just got a whole bunch of bombers out. He needs to get the air game back again, just to ensure that he can have free bombing runs on that. But that Atlas Titan is all on its own with no support. It's got no support, and if Ace can kite with these shellers... Oh, please don't send them in range of it. Please, no. Yes. Oh, the shellers, they're going to do so much damage against that. And the levelers too. One of them does get picked off, but... Oh my goodness. Not quite fast enough. Where are the bombers? You need the bombers, Ace. That Titan is just wrecking. He could oh, here they come. Yeah, an Atlas without air support is a very sad thing indeed. Oh, in they come there. Oh, there's not many interceptors in there. Ace will win that one, hands down. Oh dear. Interesting micro from Ace there, just making sure he keeps the bombers alive. He does have a few bombers in there left around, but again, this is the thing with AsZeal, because he still hasn't transitioned spinners into his mix, having sort of lost the dominance of air. He's sort of contesting it, but he's lost the dominance. He should have a few spinners in there just in case, but he hasn't done that yet, and as a result, this Titan is going to fall. That's a lot of metal invested in a Titan that is going to pop. But the tank forces are there. The Hulkins is there. That's going to defend as well. The bombers are there. They can wreck the docks as well. Down goes the Titan. Bombers coming in on this vehicle force as priority though. Oh wow. Having a look in the army tab there, we can just see units dropping for AsZeal. Same with the docks there as well, and the wreckage right in the middle. If either of the players get the combat fab out there and reclaim that wreckage, that's a lot of free metal actually. That's a lot of free metal. But oh my goodness, I just saw the factory count. 28 for 2. Ooh, that's not looking good. How long is this game? Purposefully not looking at the chrono cam though. But it's that Hulkins. Oh, that is putting in some good work. There's 2 of them there as well now. That's going to put some really good work in covering this area, allowing AceOfSpadeds this sort of area of map control as well now. Especially if he gets up some anti-air around those Hulkins. He's got the radar so he can see what the Hulkins is firing at. Oh, this is not good news. Boy. Are you going to let me see? There we go. But yeah, he can just see all of the troop movements in and around this area. He can see whether his forces are clear to move in and claim this land. But that Hulkins, it's just so good! Ugh. Unfortunately, we can't see the range of it, but it's probably to around here or so. It's just so powerful, but he's lost power, or he's turned off the radar. Oh, he must have turned off the radar temporarily. But wow, you can just see, he can see everything in that base. Meanwhile, what do we got around the back? Lots of docks trying to avoid bombers and just going in, seeing what they can do. They will manage to take down this vehicle fabber though before... Will they actually? It's going to be close. If they don't manage to take that vehicle fabber down before that gets up... Ah! It gets up! That was close, and that is now going to be a heavily defended point. Turret rotation time though is still quite slow. A few docks just trying to get in and just do a little bit of stuff, but it's not really working for them. The vehicles now seeing their opportunity to push out, covered by the Hulkins. They don't want to push in too far though, because then you do each defender's advantage, and sniper bots are beginning to be transitioned by AsZeal, which is going to really help against the vehicles and the shellers as well, especially if he gets scouting on the shellers. He can focus those down with the snipers, but he needs to kite with the snipers. He doesn't want them on the front lines with the main blob, really. The T2 vehicles are just a bit too powerful for the bots now. I don't know how Slammers fare against levelers. I haven't really seen them used very often in games like this. Oh, but the tanks are... Whoa. They're getting really close. This is going to be an army trade. A complete and utter army trade. I think the bots are actually faring a bit better than the tanks just because of their DPS. It's just a lot better. So much better. And yeah, but if he manages to kite them into the range of the Hulkins, which he has done, those Hulkins are going to do a fair bit of damage and pop, snap, crackle and boom, and more bombers coming in as well. That entire force has just been kited, sir. In come the interceptors. The bombers are going to go down. Oh, the air game. The air game in this one is so... Oof. But, actually, interestingly, I didn't see this. We have this vehicle blob coming up the side, and having kited all of those forces into the middle to be decimated, we now have quite a strong push here. It is still defender's advantage with so many bombers. Oh my goodness. We need the storms now, please. Just one or two, and you'll be fine. Just stop with the spinners, please. I want to see some storms in action. I haven't seen those being used at all yet. The docks are just everywhere. Wow. The expansion is real from AsZeal as well, but Ace of Spades just has all the T2. AsZeal does not. Still sat here rather than pushing in. He could push in and do a bit of damage to some of the T2 mechs there, but it looks as though he's just going to let the Infernos chew through the Shellas, which isn't really what you want to let happen. What is going on? What is going on in this game? Why? Oh, we've got anti-nukes going up as well. And the Locusts are back! The return of the Locust. That's going to be a thing that you want to watch out for. Has he got an army moving around already of Locusts? No, he's must have only just started producing those. But down this side now, he still doesn't have the Storms. He's just going to use the Shellas. Does he have the air support against the Bombers? No, he doesn't! Oh, the army's just going to go. When will you learn? The Storms are so good in these situations. Just get a Storm or two, please. They are just so good. And the Ares Titan is started production. Has AsZeal scouted it? No, he doesn't. He doesn't even have radar coverage. So he doesn't know about all the different army blobs that are happening. Ace is trying to keep up the air game as you would expect. He needs to get the air support for those armies. But I think really what could be good for Ace to do at this point is just push and take back all of this metal. Just do a bit of scouting, do a raiding of all of the expansion sites from AsZeal, and that should really hamper his production efforts. Because if we look in the army tab, there are 35 factories. 35. So many of those are air factories. I'm not even going to bother counting them because there's just so many there. I see 7 at first glance, plus an extra 6. 7, 8. So yeah, 15 air factories there. There's just so many air factories. Ooh, Locusts are moving out. He wants to keep support of those Locusts. He doesn't want them seen. If he can get those Locusts into the base, that will wreck. But he's losing his window. Ace is still trying to make a push here, but he still doesn't have the air support. And the bombers are just chewing through. And he's moving his Infernos into Infernos. Not exactly what you want. You want to kite while you still have the tanks. But the army count there, actually, has just swung in favour of AsZeal. Still, of course, in terms of the air, the Locusts are building up, though, and you don't want to let those build up unchecked. Lots of T2 factories from AsZeal now, though. He's going to need to start pausing some of the other factories in order to allow that to continue production. Oh, come on, Ace, do some scouting. There's all of these free expansions to wreck. Absolutely wreck and decimate and destroy. But the Ares Titan, though, that is complete. So that is really going to help against the bombers because it's so durable. It is so durable and it does so much damage and it has an impressive range. So it'll be able to fire over these sorts of things. All of the terrain features, and we'll just be able to kite all of this army to Kingdom Come. It won't be able to be killed by locusts, because locusts are just too good. Oh dear! The locusts have been found by the bombers. Not good. Oh no. They do kind of outrun bombers, but... Run back into your base. Oh. Watch out. Oh dear. That didn't look very good. But the Titan is going to make the push now. Let's watch this. From on up high. Shellers trying to kite. The Ares now starting to make its plays. In it comes, dealing absolute huge amounts of damage to this army. As soon as it starts focusing in the middle, it'll just pay through swathes of this. Unfortunately, it's just focusing on one or two Infernos. There you go, you saw one just firing at the middle of the group there. We just need the big cannon to fire into the middle. Unfortunately, as Ace of Spades isn't kiting tremendously well here, he's trying to kite back into the range of the Hulkins yet again, and that entire army... Oh, it's just left at the mercy of that Titan. Yeah, that's gone. The Infernos are back at the front again. Lost most of the Shellers though, but the Ares is still there, and after all of that, it's still only on 99% of its health. So it still is free. Where there's bomber support that needs to come in now. Oh, the air support comes in from Ace. I think this could be the deciding push here, to be honest with you. Here comes the air from AsZeal, coming in from the side, going to get the surround on this. Interceptors come in, chasing round the back, having a look around, seeing what's going on, flying up and over the unit cannon there. But... oh, that Ares is just so powerful. He needs the bombers to take care of the Ares. Otherwise, he's just not gonna get anything done here. The Ares still just not even got a scratch on it. And it's on, you know, the front garden of this base. Come on, AsZeal, you need to get the support in against this. Otherwise, it's going to be GG. Where has his bombers gone? Where have his bombers gone? He's just transitioned to complete bombers as a result. In all of these air factories, look, just bombers, bombers, bombers. It's panic bomber mode. Quick. Panic bumbles. Or bumble panic, as we might call it. Bumblebees, bumble panic. Meanwhile, the docks are raiding the T2 mechs on the other side. We'll just start to see this drop. As he tries to keep those factories producing, he falls negative in the metal. That's going to slow down his production to be able to defend his base. But the Ares is still sat there. The bombers coming in, though, for their pass. Where's the air support from Ace? It's not here. T2 power's going down. Watching it from this side, we'll see the bombers come in just a second over this Titan, and we'll start to see its health go down. But in comes the air support from Ace of Spades, and the bombers just get eaten. Oh, the bombers are gone. There's the bomber support, is just gone. Emergency orbital plans activate from AsZeal in the base. They're trying to get up to maybe some anchors of some description. I think that's a little bit too late. As he GG's and suicides his comm over there in the distance. What a great game. What a great game of PA that was. So much give and take. So much tit for tat in the air game. The tug of war down the middle was real, but the strategies from Ace just won out eventually with the kiting, with the Shellers, combined with the Hulkins, combined with the Spinners, just hung out there long enough to get the critical mass through and get that Ares through. And he decided, I'm going to sacrifice the map expansion and just get T2 in my base and just stock up on it and defend and make sure I can keep the T2 in my base, and then I will just roll over all of the faces. And that is exactly what happened. So, yeah, it seems as though if you have lots of mechs in your base, you want to defend and make sure you get that T2, especially if you can get the T2. But wow, that was just so good. Let's have a look at how long that game was. 44 minutes. Woo! Well, I hope you enjoyed this cast. Don't forget to leave in the comments any feedback or anything that you'd like to see, be it gameplay or more casts, whether it be 2v2 casts, FFA casts, 4v4 casts, all of this shenanigans. I'm still trying to get replays to work from PA Stats replay links. That's still an issue at the moment. I'm trying to get that sorted. But if you say want me to cast one of your ranked games, or you have a replay that'll work, then do let me know about it, and I'll see if I can cast it. But again, with the issues that have been of late, I can't make any promises. Anyway, don't forget to pop any likes if you did enjoy it, or share to any of your friends who may enjoy it. And subscribe for more PA on the way very, very soon indeed. Don't forget to tune in next weekend for the Able Gamers Tournament and the Fight for the Ant. Until the next time, have a nice day.